Well, hey everyone, I'm Andrew Bartolotta, Director of Digital Media at cityCURRENT. And today I'm joined by my coworker, Betsy Kamler, Director of Client Engagement at Lipscomb Insurance, and our special guest, Melissa Donahue, who's the Director at Concern EAP, the Employee Assistance Program here in Memphis. So I wish it wasn't under these circumstances, but I'm glad that everyone's joining us today so we can talk about behavioral health during this time and offer some ideas to stay positive. I know that a lot of us are experiencing anxiety and know that through this uncertainty, we have a lot of questions that we can't easily get answered. So we're just gonna provide some tips on positivity and ways that we can come together and maintain that normalcy as much as possible. So first off, I'd like to let Betsy introduce herself, and then Melissa will introduce herself, and then we'll get started. So Betsy.
Perfect. Well, I am Director of Client Engagement here at Lipscomb & Pitts, and that entails just about anything that has to do with communication, wellness, technology, all your non-traditional benefits, just various things that can help you guys with your employee culture and let your employee have the best experience they can have as an employee of your company. And again, we're joined with Melissa today with Concern of EAP, and I would just like Melissa to kind of give us an idea of what Concern does and what your services are.
Alrighty, thank you, Betsy, and thank you for having us, Andrew. I'm the Director of Concern, the Employee Assistance Program. We are here in Memphis, and we take care of folks all over the United States and even some folks internationally. So as a licensed clinical social worker, we're always wanting to get people talking about behavioral health, because we know there's a stigma associated with mental health, but we know it's just another part of you, just like your physical health. So we're glad to be a part of this discussion. We wish it wasn't under these circumstances, but we know anxiety and all kinds of different things are going on in general. But especially in the times that we're living in right now. So, but Concerned, we're glad to be able to provide counseling. Right now, we're able to provide telephone, telehealth, and in-person counseling. So we're glad to be able to support our companies with that and trainings and all kinds of other features. So we'll have some contact information if anybody is interested in being able to make sure to provide those employees that benefit.
Perfect. Well, that sounds great. Well, thanks again for joining us today, Melissa. And we're going to go ahead and get started. We have a few tips to share with everyone because, mental well-being is so important and extremely important now that we're all social distancing and we're doing the quarantine thing, whether we like it or not. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And our first tip is maintaining a routine. And, I know that a lot of us may or may not be familiar with working from home. I know this, I do this from time to time myself, but not doing it full time is a new thing. So just kind of give us an idea of how important it is to maintain a routine and some tips on that.
Well, it's so important because, especially if you're working from home, your kids are home with you, they're wondering what in the world is going on. That doesn't mean that you're not setting an alarm clock to get up and be a part of those calls. Most folks are moving to a similar format we're doing now, having those meetings, in a WebEx format. So, you're still doing those things that you would do on a normal basis with your job. If you work out in the morning, still set that alarm. Make sure you're getting up, getting that exercise that you need, and, eating your meals at a regular time. All those things are so important because if you, start staying up late, watching extra Netflix special at night and, not get the sleep that you normally get, then it starts to throw your body off. And, maintaining a sense of normalcy in the times that we're living in is so important, especially even though we've got kids probably in the background, you're putting the dog in the other room so that you're not having any issues as you're trying to continue working. So those are, there's so many different things that, it may be different, but in a lot of ways it's still the same. So there's no reason to stop doing the things that you enjoy and, keeping yourself in a routine.
Yeah, and one thing that you did mention, you were talking about, again, being out of the norm of, mom and dad are home, they're working, siblings are home, we're all under the same roof trying to have our normal daily lives. And any tips about talking about this, what's going on with children and teens? I know we have a teenager my husband and I do, and we've tried to keep things as normal as possible. We try to stay positive. We try not to express our worries or anxiety or concerns in front of her. But at the same time, if she has any questions, we're very honest with her. And we just try to tell her, exactly what we think's going on, what the story is and how much longer it's going to be, whatever, but we don't try to sugarcoat it. I mean, that's just the way it is. So any tips about that? Because I know a lot of people are dealing with that. I know it depends on age too.
Absolutely. We always, want to encourage that you take age into account, but kids are hearing things, they're seeing things. And so making sure that you have an open dialogue with your kids is so important because, asking them, so what are you hearing about this? Because they may be FaceTiming with their friends or on media and, they may not be reliable sources. So if you've got an open dialogue with those kids, making sure that you're confirming and denying, those things that they're hearing, but also that they're seeing you be a positive, mom and dad are doing everything that we can. We don't know what's going on from here, but we just want you to know that we're doing everything to keep us safe. That's why we're not having the play dates, and we may be doing things different. We're not sure for how long, but the kids tap into your anxieties and how you're feeling about things. So if you're maintaining a sense of positivity to them, then they're going to be less scared and anxious. But they can definitely, they're hearing and seeing things whether we're telling them or not.
Yeah, totally agree.
I would say too, I know that this is the time that you can break out those Pinterest boards that you've been looking at activities for so long for your kids. I know some of my friends are doing things like making their own pizzas and having the kids in the kitchen and working to create some easy meals, or helping them create little forts in the living room that they can watch a movie or so, and just any sense of normalcy, but like making it creative, I think also helps kids realize that, okay, this may not be normal or something that we're used to, but it's still exciting in a new way.
Yeah. We actually the other night, I guess it was last weekend, we actually played a card game that we haven't done that in about 3 years. So you get to break out the board games and things you used to do when the kids were younger. And of course, if you still have young kids, that's hopefully still a cool thing to do.
Right. And there's a lot of really awesome resources. I know that we've posted some things online of folks that are opening up their archives of movies and shows and books. Take advantage of that. YMCA has some awesome resources out there of all kinds of fun fitness classes. Get everybody involved. Make your time to exercise, to try something new, but you can bring the kids and, make it exciting, make it a group activity.
Yeah. And that's a great segue into our next tip is, encouraging exercise and, dealing with wellness like I do. We all know how important exercise is to our health and our mental well-being. And we've mentioned, again, with the family and stuff, we've all commented how it's just crazy how you can see so many people running and walking, but not just individually, but as families, just tons of people in my neighborhood. And you just never saw that. Obviously, our gyms are closed and things like that. So they're having to pick up other exercises they normally wouldn't do, but still it's encouraging to see families out there, and it kind of hope that it stays like that, even when things hope back to normal. But I know a lot of different free resources online. I was looking today, there's a ton of different types of workouts and things like that you are now free now. You don't have to pay for them, and there's tons of stuff out there. But it's also important to get outside. I mean, my daughter and I took a walk after work yesterday, and it was just great. I mean, the sun was out, it was fresh air, it's just exactly what we needed. So I know that that's important to people. Any more tips about that? What are you guys doing?
I broke out the Jillian Michaels. I hadn't seen that CD. We had to dust the dust off on it. But other than some of the old CDs and different workout videos, Tybo. I know lots of people used to be into the Billy Blanks, and dig out some of those old workout videos, guys, And y'all know YouTube's one of those that you can find anything on YouTube.
Yeah.
They've got all kinds of exercise videos that you can do. But take your phone outside and just like you said, Betsy, enjoy some fresh air, get some vitamin D, and don't put that on the back burner, because exercise, you've got to be able to release those endorphins, because that's going to help with reducing that anxiety that we're all having.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been taking my dog for a walk. We have a park adjacent to our neighborhood, and still maintaining that social distancing. There's only been probably 3 people, and I live in South Haven, and there's a huge park here called Central Park, and there's only 4 or 5 people in the entire park, when there's usually at least a dozen or so at any given time, but still maintaining the distance. And for my dog, I think realizing also that something's not right. Why are you home all the time? So, she's begging, and I'm able to just take her on a walk, and then she's tired. But then for me, it just clears my head, because being a communications professional, the past 2 weeks has been just, I'm typing away endlessly. So just having that space to just decompress has been great. And I really hope that, this isn't a great time at all, but I hope during this time, we're able to find the things that help give us peace, and exercise is one of them. I know there's a great, a lot of local gyms are doing Facebook Lives, so boxing, Zumba, and then when Melissa was talking about YouTube, it reminded me of a very embarrassing YouTube video I used to watch called Walking Away the Sounds. And so it's like walking in place, and it's just like exercise, it's low impact. So it might be good for some of you to do and try new things. The great thing about having Facebook Lives for Zumba and kickboxing and other fitness is that with the Facebook Live, if you're not feeling it after 20 minutes, you can turn it off and you can try something else.
Right. You don't have to embarrass yourself and sneak out the back door of a workout class that you're like, I can't do this. Yeah. Nobody knows if you don't want to do it or if you can't do it.
Hey, but who knows? You may find your new favorite thing.
That's right. That's right.
You may find a new class that, hey, once this is over, I'm going to go to that class. and you've aced it. You've got to a point that you're like, all right, I've got this.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Well, I am going to talk about tip number 3, which Facebook Live sort of plays into that, but that is to leverage the power of technology. And this is a great time to reach out to loved ones with technology to reduce the feelings of loneliness and anxiety that we may have, and sort of supplement that social life that we're used to. Some of the things that my coworkers and friends are doing are virtual happy hours. So they're literally taking their bottle of wine at home, just getting on Zoom or FaceTime or Skype or Facebook Messenger, and they're just getting together and they're sipping their wine like they would if they were at a restaurant with their girlfriends or friends, but they're able to do that. And once again, it's that sense of normalcy in this uncertainty. Yeah. So another great thing with technology is that there's so many positive stories and positive media. The Commercial Appeal in Memphis just posted about the Kroger warehouse workers yesterday. And it was a great spotlight on those frontline leaders that on a normal day, you may not say that the Kroger warehouse workers are essential jobs, right? But they are doing incredible work. And right now, they're just as important as the truck drivers, the nurses, the teachers, all of them, and how we can spotlight their efforts. So learning about that. And at cityCURRENT, we are all about positive media, and we're working on debuting a new website soon, which will have even more positive stories. We're recording Changemakers podcasts. Another group, one of this quote that I love that I saw this morning was, don't practice social distancing, practice physical distancing, because we're social creatures. So keep being social. And when we say that, of course, the term social distancing, yes, practice that, but think about it as physical distancing, and not that you cannot socialize with people around you through the power of technology.
Yeah.
And that being said, like I said, with cityCURRENT, we have some great positive media on our Instagram, Facebook, website, some other social influencers that I find to sort of provide me comfort are Morgan Harper Nichols, and she is an incredible artist, but she also has this great sense of calming in her text and her graphics and her videos. And so you'll see on the screen, it's at Morgan Harper Nichols, and she's Facebook, Instagram, and of course a website. She also has an app where every day it'll remind you of gratitude or hope, or what do you feel when you have loneliness or anything that you may be experiencing. So I think social influencers like Morgan Harper Nichols is great. Brandon Harvey with Good, Good, Good. If you want to write that down, he's great. And he's providing some, he has a good newspaper that he sends out, and it's all about positive news. So he sends it out, I believe, on a monthly basis. And they also have it online. So that's another one. But just search, top 10 positive social influencers in 2020 or 2019, and you'll find some really great resources and communities that you may not have realized existed.
That's great. Yeah, I have a feeling I'll be using FaceTime a lot more than I ever did before. I'm not usually a FaceTime user, but I have a feeling I'll be using that with my parents and people like that you normally used to talking to the phone just because you won't see them for a while. Hopefully sooner than later, but you never know.
And just check in to be able to see their faces.
Yeah, exactly.
Yesterday. I didn't even realize you could do a group FaceTime, but I did that with my girlfriends yesterday. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. It's like the Facebook one that you'd see the commercial of the Muppets,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is so cool. This is, just another avenue of doing that. But Andrew, I'd just like to add, with talking about technology, guys, you probably have someone in your life that is the social media doomsday type of person. So, as you're influencing your life to bring in this positivity, feel free to also unfollow and unfriend some of those people that are doing the opposite. We want to harness technology to bring that positivity in this time, and also try to nicely push away some of those negative Nancy's that are always just posting negative things that kind of create more and more anxiety.
Definitely. Well, and this is, our fourth tip that we have up here, manage news coverage. We talk about that, the negativity that you just said. I know I'm guilty of it. First thing I do in the morning is turn on the TV, and I'm sucked into it. It's depressing and it's crazy. And I guess, we all need to be informed. We all need to, check the updates. But I feel like, sometimes too much of this COVID-19 is too much. And what are your thoughts on that, Melissa?
Well, first, you want to make sure that the news that you're watching or you're reading is a credible source, because there's a lot of different things that come out that it's like, where's this coming from? And it's not evidence-based things. It just may be hearsay. That some of the media, sometimes they're guilty of playing the bad telephone game, just like, we see happen. And it's not, truthful things. And so be informed from a credible source. But you've also got to give yourself time to step away from that and say, okay, I've got my information for the day, and create a boundary and say, okay, I'm only watching the news for this amount of time, and I'll pick it back up tomorrow. You got to give yourself boundaries, because if you don't, it will take hold of you. But something I really enjoyed, I was watching, everybody is probably familiar with Adam Carolla, one of the great comedians of our time. But, something that he said in one of his interviews the other day was, he kind of related what we're going through right now to a prison sentence. Now, I hope none of you are sitting at home with an ankle brace and already experiencing this, but something that he said that the folks in prison relate to is either the time does you or you do the time. And so with that tip saying, okay, this is the time that we're living in, but I'm going to use it as an opportunity to find new things that I enjoy, to try to be more positive, to spend more time with my family and really prioritize. But even in the time that we're living in, this can give us the opportunity to really look at what we're spending our time doing and what our priorities are.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
All right, so let's move on to practicing positivity and gratitude. I think one thing that I know some of my friends do is they have a gratitude journal, and they do this way before the coronavirus. And they have just every day they write 5 things they're thankful for, or maybe a highlight of the day or something that they want to remember later on down the road. And I think that's a great way to calm your nerves and just change your set of the situation as well. Melissa, what are some tips when you think about practicing positivity and gratitude that could be helpful?
Well, I love the idea of positivity journaling. It's something that I encourage with pretty much anybody that we interface with, because like you said, even before all this stuff started happening, the world can be a negative place. And so, the idea of having a gratitude journal and being more positive, waking up and just thinking of, starting with one thing that you're grateful for, one thing that you have positive going on in your world, is helpful, because I imagine we probably all have lots of things that we're thankful for. But when the world kind of gets in the way and negativity is happening, it's hard to think back about that. So if you're, taking that time each morning or each evening to focus on those things, when negativity comes our way, you can reflect back on that and just say, okay, yes, there's some negative things going on, but overall, is it, it's the idea of thinking, is it a bad day, or is this a completely bad life? We're looking at the big picture and not just focusing on small things. The small things don't define us. This is just a chapter in all of our lives. We're going to get through it. So making sure that we're focusing on the big picture, and that, hey, we're going to get through this. Hopefully it's an experience that makes us stronger. We won't go so far as, some of the comments that Madonna made yesterday about it, being awesome and things like that. But, it potentially, this time that we have, it can make us stronger.
Yeah.
Some things before Betsy, real quick, that are in my mind are, there's some companies like Sign Gypsies my dad and my sister's birthday are tomorrow and Friday. And so what I'm doing is they set up signs in the front yard, and it's a
Yeah.
kind of encouragement, literally, that just says, happy birthday, or we'll get through this. So there's some companies around town that are finding innovative ways to still have that sense of positivity with each other without you physically being there. Uber Eats is offering free local delivery from small local restaurants. So, if you have a loved one that still may have to go to work, or you have a cousin that is just messaging you and saying, I have so much anxiety over this. I don't know when I can go to the grocery store. Okay, why don't you get on Uber Eats, put in their address, send them lunch. Little things of gratitude and positivity to just be the best that we can be. I think that's helpful as well.
Yeah. And
Go ahead, Betsy.
I was just jumping all over each other. When you were mentioning something about when we started talking about journaling, again, I go back to my daughter. Her English teacher has really encouraged them to create a journal during this time, because this is such unprecedented. We all know, we remember where we were at 9/11, when Desert Storm started. I mean, all kinds of things that the Challenger blew up. I'm probably dating myself, but it's crazy. And this is just so different than anything else like that. And so it's, not only having a positive journal, but it's just interesting for kids to write things down of what was going on during this period. And you'll look back one day and think, holy cow, how in the world did we survive all that? And so it's just another thing you may pick up that you may enjoy doing, that again, you'll appreciate in the years, in the future.
And it's great for your mental health. Again,
Yes.
You get all those things out. A lot of times it's going on in your head, so you're just getting it out on paper, and that's
right.
a great thing. But to piggyback on what you were saying, Andrew, with the Uber Eats and everything, it's amazing what we're seeing with folks that are turning what were, shared little book houses into, toilet paper and all those essentials, and drop off places. And it's just, people putting signs up that, take what you need. It's really amazing to see, when times get tough, who gets really tough, and you know, who is there to help their neighbor. There's just some amazing things that you see going on, and you see, it makes you very grateful for the community that you live in. But you know, we're also meant to help each other out. So if there's an opportunity to do that, you can twofold be able to help a local restaurant, and maybe an elderly person that lives on the road. Order them some food and have it delivered. You're helping the local business, and you're also helping somebody that may not be able to get out. So lots of opportunity for us to help our fellow human.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, additionally, one of our friends here in South Haven, they're going around and putting up red ribbons on the mailboxes, and that's just to say thank you to our health heroes that are on the front lines of this virus and are checking people every day for the virus.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Professionals. So I think that's something that I haven't seen sort of pick up steam regionally or even nationally, but I see locally it happening. And I think that's something that we can do. I remember during some other times where we would have, when troops were sent off to war, we had yellow ribbons, and you'd go around and your heart would just flutter with just that sense of belonging and purpose when you would see people and they would have the yellow ribbons around their tree, or they would have the magnets on their car. Another thing people are doing are putting up their Christmas lights again, which is my favorite part of the year. And I think that's such a fun thing to do as well. It will take quite a bit of time since you just put them away probably. So, but like I put our Christmas lights on our back porch, and so and they're just, you know, the clear lights. So at night when I'm letting my dog out or I'm playing with my nephew in the backyard, I can, you know, there's some lights, and there's just something about that creativity and that sense of positivity with that it just makes you feel comfortable, you know?
Yeah. I was at the other day, and it was really interesting. People, not that it's funny, it's good that they were doing it, is, you know, they were really trying to make a point to say thank you to the Kroger workers and the people checking them out. And you just need to really go out of your way with gratitude, because like we had mentioned earlier, those guys are just doing the best they can. They're trying to restock our shelves, everything, you know, not only them, but, you know, your healthcare workers, doctors, nurses, whoever. It's just they always need to be thanked, but this is a even more important time to really appreciate what they're doing for us.
All right, well, we some questions from our audience, and here's that let's see.
I guess we actually are in the twilight.
Let's see where this is coming from. Okay, can everyone hear me?
Yeah, it's breaking up just a bit. Go ahead.
Okay.
There we go.
All right, cool. So someone asked, okay.
Gotta love technology.
Yeah. Betsy and Melissa, can you mute yourself and let's see if that helps us?
Yes.
Okay. Are we still experiencing that? Am I good? Okay, cool. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, Allison. They said good now. So it may be just some feedback on our mics, but like Betsy said, you gotta love technology. So I will ask the question, and then Betsy and Melissa, go ahead and unmute yourself after I ask the question, and you can answer it, and I'll mute myself, and we'll just go from there. So someone asked, you know, I'm still working almost, you know, as hard as ever, really. So my free time is very limited. I'm trying to balance work and life as well as trying to engage the kids that are at home, but that is proving to be stressful since I'm totally engulfed in work. Trying to work on this. Hopefully distance learning will start soon. What are some tips that I can implement that will help balance the work life at home?
Well, hopefully, as you're spending time at home, whether you're cooking or like we talked about with exercise, I think that it's a great opportunity to find one of those cooking things that you can include your children in on. Then that they can be a part of the process because you have to eat, and hopefully we're getting that exercise in. So COVID dance party to get that exercise, or uh, decide to cook something that night that they can be included in on. And so, you're helping teach them a skill, getting exercise, and doing those things that are so, so important that we still do, and making it a fun activity and teaching them a skill.
All right. So another anonymous attendee asked, what are some positive apps or maybe religious apps that we can use that will provide daily inspirational verses and images? So I'll take this first and then I'll let one of you answer as well. But there are some apps that I saw today called Calm, C-A-L-M, which are in the Apple App Store, was named one of the best apps of the year previously. And I believe it provide some meditation and stuff like that. My friend Jackie O, who's actually listening, she's on the webinar as well. She has some great meditation Facebook Lives coming up. So go to her page and we'll share that resource after the webinar as well, because I think it's so great to have some apps that we can use. She's saying that Insight Timer is another great app. Obviously, if you are a Christian, downloading the Bible app, that is something that I love to see, or subscribing to Caleb's verse of the day. So every day in your email inbox, you'll receive a Bible verse that inspires you, and they're doing a wonderful job as well. Melissa, Betsy, do you have any apps that you use that help provide inspiration?
One of my favorite, Andrew, is called Happify. It gives you not only information and positive resources, but it also provides a way for you to check in with yourself, see how you're feeling. But it just puts out a lot of, great information for you to flood yourself with a resource that is, trying to uplift you. And it's been around for a while, and so you can log into that one. But you bring up, when you talked about meditation and mindfulness, guys, with anxiety of the things that we have going on, it's so important for us to check in with our breathing. If you have a smartwatch, an Apple Watch, Fitbit, any of those things, a lot of them have that built-in relax, or it checks in with your breathing. Even more important for you to focus on those things, because if you can control your breathing, that's what a lot of that meditation and mindfulness teaches you, that it can help you control the anxiety. So apps, but going back to using the technology to your benefit, if you have that, you may not even know that you have had that capability into your smartwatch. So use those things. It's only going to help.
Yeah, I agree. And I laugh because I normally turn off my breathe indicator on my smartwatch, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't need that. Well, now, we probably all do need it, and leave it on so we can be mindful of to take a breath and take a second. But I saw somebody popped up, had a comment there about churches and going, Facebook Live and different things. And I know that that's kind of what we did this past Sunday. We were able to watch a church service live, and we were able to project it on our TV screen in our den, and it was very different, but at least you felt like you were still part of your spiritual, well-being education that you're normally, used to getting once a week. And so I know that various churches are doing prayer groups and things like that periodically through the week. So I always encourage people to, be sure and check with your local church or wherever you've been going to kind of see what they're doing, because I have a feeling if they haven't started it, they're about to now. And it's they're going to have to work up sometimes, but it's definitely worth tuning in just to kind of keep that normalcy going.
Yeah, I think too, to piggyback on that, Betsy, churches in DeSoto County are coming together under this uniform called Church United, and they are, it's a beautiful thing. And unfortunately you think about, okay, did it have to take to this point for it to happen? But if that's what the result is, then I think it's a beautiful thing, like I said. And they're coming together and hosting panel discussions from pastors around DeSoto County, all different walks of life, ethnicities, and I think it's beautiful to see as well. Jackie O as well said that she's doing her meditation and movement on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on Facebook Live. So go ahead and like her page at Sapphire Yogi. Great. Feedback again, Melissa said as well, Christine said that there's an app called Breathe that has lots of free content. And I think that's great as great. And then Oprah is doing, everyone loves Oprah, right? She, my sister said the other day, I wish Oprah's TV show was still going on because she always provides us comfort. And I was like, well, she may not have the TV show, but she is doing a free 21-day meditation called Hope for Uncertain Times. So like we said, there are a lot of resources. We have a lot of questions coming in and apps, app requests. Someone said that Headspace is a great meditation app. I think that's good too. And chapracentermeditation.com. So we have another question that Betsy, you may have some ideas for this. When we talk about work at home ergonomics, Fred asks, how can we be accustomed to a well-designed workspace? Our home space may not be well-designed for continuous sitting or keyboard use. I know for me, I have a stand-up desk that I brought home from work. Right now, I'm clearly sitting because I made it shorter because I realized that I'm not used to standing for 8 hours a day. So for me, it was a little challenging, but I think just, every hour or so, putting it back up and standing for 20 minutes, going around the house as well, taking a break to unload the dishwasher or do a load of laundry and get back just to have that right headspace. Betsy or Melissa, do you have any tips when it comes to work at home ergonomics?
I personally am not an ergonomics expert, but I do believe that it's very important, and it's something that I personally have not had any issues with it. It's my issue, kind of like Andrew said, is I'm sitting so much. I was telling somebody, a coworker this morning, that you're used to getting up and walking to ask somebody a question, and primarily you just do that just to get up and walk around the office. And here it's like, I get up periodically through the day and I sit right back down. And by the end of the day, I'm like, golly, I feel like I've been, sitting in a seminar or an airplane all day long. So it's just very important to do that. But that is good. That's a good question. And what I'd like to do is see if I can find some information about that and put that out on our webpage later on. That is definitely, I don't know, Melissa, if you have any other ideas about that.
Well, I think what you're saying is great, but hopefully, this is, like I said, this is an opportunity for growth. Hopefully in the 8 hours that you're working, you're making the point to, okay, it's been 30 minutes I've been sitting here. I'm going to get up and go walk and go do something. It's not good for our eyes. It's not good for our sanity, probably, to be sitting in front of a computer screen and working nonstop. So, planning in the same way that you're planning what you're doing throughout the day, plan those breaks. Make sure that you're giving yourself an opportunity to get up, to give your eyes a break, to get moving, and maybe just take advantage of that time that you have to maybe do some of the things that we've talked about today.
Yeah, and some of these panelists, the attendees are asking if the resources will be shared as well after this webinar. And of course they are. This webinar will be offered on demand, so you can send it out to your employees or friends that may find this useful. We're also live on cityCURRENT's Facebook page, that's at cityCURRENT. And Betsy will be talking about a COVID-19 resource center that Lipscomb and Pitts has created. And as part of cityCURRENT and Lipscomb and Pitts, I will be creating a blog post that talks about some of the apps that we mentioned today and some links, as well as some other virtual webinar events. We're hoping that, we have 100 participants that are with us today, and we see this as a need. This is something that, this time last week, we reached out to Melissa, our friend at Concern EAP, and said, hey, you know, you were on our Benefits at Work podcast recently. Let's have this conversation. And I know personally, I needed this conversation. And I thought if we're having this conversation, we might as well share it with the world. And as we're doing that, we see that there is a need. So if you are interested in us doing some more Be Well webinars, we are more than willing to do that. We are sitting at our home offices every day, and we are working harder than ever. Betsy, would you like to talk a little bit about the COVID-19 Resource Center that Lipscomb Pitts has created, and maybe some of the resources that people can learn about? And then Melissa, we can talk about some resources that you have, and then we will ask any other questions, and then we'll complete the webinar.
Perfect. Yes, that'd be great. You know, as LNP, our website has the most up-to-date information, but we also create a COVID-19 web page that you can find just by clicking on our home screen, and you'll see a little ticker, red ticker at the bottom, and just click on that and it'll take you right to it. It has a ton of information about legislative changes and things that have to do with the IRS and HR and things like that, FMLA, all types of things that are constantly changing that people have questions about. We also have various webinars listed there, some that would be helpful for employers, some that would be helpful for employees. And then also I'm trying to post things that could be helpful for your employees, whether it be just about mental well-being, wellness, exercise, those type of things, just to kind of be aware of and just throw them out there for your, you know, your culture, just to kind of keep people engaged and motivated and healthy. So just please take a look at that and check back with us periodically, because we are updating that just about every day.
That is awesome, Betsy. It's great to know that you know, Lipscomb and Pitts has a centralized place for those resources that are you know, just helping out your employees. Like you said, it's hard to keep everybody engaged when we're all spread out sometimes. So you know, those are awesome things to be able to have. Similar to that concern on our Facebook and on our LinkedIn, we're trying to be just a resource for positivity, for credible information, some from the CDC, some from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Association, but all kinds of different things that we're posting daily, and just want to keep you informed. You know, sometimes it's information, sometimes it's a, you know, funny puppy video, because, you know, who doesn't love a good puppy baby video to you know, just kind of take your mind off things. So please feel free to follow us on there, whether you're a concerned client or not. We just want to put that information out there, and really just use this opportunity, as anxiety provoking as it is. You know, we don't want to look back and say, okay, I lived through that, and really have it be an opportunity that you thrive. And there's, you know, taking advantage of this time that we have and learning new things, helping yourself grow and make yourself stronger. It really is an opportunity for all of us to not just live, but really be thriving and, you know, growing stronger together as a family, and making sure that our priorities are in order, that, you know, we're not just filling up our time with things that we, you know, have always done, but it's really what we want to focus on, and what we want our legacy to be.
That's great. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Betsy. We will continue this conversation online. You can email us at andrewb@citycurrent.com. You can email Betsy or Melissa. They will give their contact information. If you're looking for positive media, at cityCURRENT, cityCURRENT Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, website. Like I said, we're working on providing you resources of hope, positivity, ways that you can virtually volunteer. And we look forward to hearing from you all as well. We will provide these resources and tips on the COVID-19 Resource Center on Lipscomb and Pitts website. That's lpinsurance.com. And we look forward to doing these more often. Maybe we'll do it once a week. Maybe we'll do it every other week, but bringing on new guests to talk about ways that we can be comforted during these uncertainties. And we just appreciate all of you staying on and listening. Send us some other topics you're interested in. You can do that at andrewb@citycurrent.com, or you can go ahead and place those in the chat below, so that way we know what you want to hear. we are so grateful that all of you joined us today. I know there's a lot of teachers that are on this webinar that are listening. Thank you. You literally had to take everything from your classroom, bring it home, and find a new normal for you and your students. And you all are doing a wonderful job. Thank you to our health heroes, everyone from nurses and truck drivers to grocery store restockers. I mean, you all are doing an incredible job. And like Betsy said earlier, just continue to thank them, provide gratitude and positivity towards them. And, you know, when you give, you grow. So I think that's great as well. I am going to let Betsy and Melissa take us out by providing their contact information and ways you can connect with them. But once again, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us. We are so appreciative, and we look forward to sharing more resources with you soon.
Great, thanks, Andrew, and thanks everybody for joining us today. And like Andrew said, just please let us know your thoughts and any other topics we could cover during this time. And if you have any questions, I can be reached at Betsy K, that's BETSYK at lpinsurance.com. Thank you again.
Alrighty, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. If you'd like my contact information, it's Melissa, MELISSA .Donahue, DONAHUE at BMHCC.org. Melissa.Donahue at BMHCC.org. We look forward to, you know, being able to provide resources and assistance in this time of need.
Thank you all so much. This concludes our webinar, and like I said, I'll send out an email with our resources, and we'll also post it on lpinsurance.com. Thank you all so much. We appreciate it. Thank you for staying on for the entire hour, and hopefully we provided you with some tips to remain comforted during this uncertain time. And we're in this together, so let's use this time to build each other up. And I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Melissa and Betsy. I appreciate it.